Soil forming factors. Today we will be studying soil forming factors. We have already studied the various processes that lead to formation of soils. Jenny in 1941 had said that soil formation or soil genesis is a function of actually 5 factors: climate, organismic activity, relief, parent material, and time. Thereafter, many other soil scientists have classified soil forming factors into active and passive. Climate and organismic activity actually form the active soil forming factors because they are directly controlling the nature of soil that is formed and the soil forming processes. The passive soil forming factors include relief or topography, parent material, and time. Among the soil forming factors, the active soil forming factors, most important is climate. Under climate, there are 4 main parameters that are important. First is precipitation. Precipitation directly controls the amount of water available in the soil. The amount of water then controls the amount of chemical weathering. Let us consider 3 separate cases. If there is an excess rainfall, then this will lead to alluviation, because the soluble clay fraction in the upper portion of the soil, these will be solubilized and deposited by transportation into the lower layers. If there is very excessive rain, it will be leached out completely from the soil profile. Hence, the profile formed in these excessive rain regions will be coarse soil profiles or horizons, and the pH level will also be lower. They will be slightly acidic, as the bases, exchangeable bases, will decrease as they will be removed from the soil. The second situation is when there is moderate to low rainfall. Then the coarser particles are still broken up by temperature, but since the rainfall is limited, there is limited downward movement of water and the soil constituents which would have got solubilized with it. Since there is lesser solubilized minerals and lesser water availability due to low rainfall, these are deposited primarily in the lower transitional portion of the A horizon or in the B horizon's very upper portions. And the last, or the another situation in climate in terms of precipitation, is if precipitation is fluctuating. When there is a wet spell, there is rainfall and it leads to weathering and breakup of soil constituents. But in the dry spell, the water evaporates and there is a capillary rise of the water, and this capillary rise of water results in rising of the soluble salts with it, which are also translocated up to the surface in very arid regions, and maybe in the B horizon or lower edges of the A horizon in semi-arid regions, depending on the amount of or degree of aridity. So precipitation, whether it is high, excessive, moderate, or fluctuating, governs how much of alluviation, leaching, or capillary action, that means the primary processes that operate in soil forming, act. But these precipitation also influences other soil characteristics and other soil forming factors, like what is the nature of animal or plant life in the area, in that particular region, the pH amount, and organic matter content. Besides precipitation, humidity also in the same way, by controlling evaporation, controls soil formation processes. Another parameter in climate is temperature. Temperature controls the upward or capillary movement of water. Like we discussed in the earlier slide, and in soil forming processes, capillary movement of water in due to high temperature leads to upper movement of the salts also, which are also translocated towards the upper layers. This leads to many things. Firstly, if there is high temperature coupled with high moisture, then the vegetation being dense, the organic matter decomposition is very high rate, and thus microbial activity is also very increased. And if the temperature is low, then there is slower rate of decomposition and organic matter accumulation is high because microbial activity is not so high. So temperature controls whether there is capillary action or not, and to the extent there is capillary action, and but more it controls the degree or extent of decomposition of organic matter. Now, many social scientists have developed various models and through experiments have found out that in tropical climates where temperatures are higher, weathering is 3 times that of temperate regions and 9 times that of Arctic regions. Similarly, temperature also controls the biochemical processes that lead to soil formation, and a 10-degree rise in temperature rate uh, leads to a high rate of biochemical reaction, almost doubling it. So temperature controls other soil forming factors as well, just like precipitation. In essence, it is the temperature and moisture association that is important, because a hot and humid climate will on one hand lead to humidity will lead to leaching, and a hot climate will lead to high microbial activity and no humus accumulation. While a cool, humid climate, there will be elevation and elevation due to humidity or due to humid situations or climatic conditions. And the cool climate will result in restriction of elevation to the extent of leaching, because evaporation will not be so high and capillary action will also not be there, and it will also lead to accumulation of humus because microbial activity will be optimal for its formation. It's only in hot and dry areas that we will have high evaporation leading to capillary action and precipitation of salt at the surface. So precipitation and temperature individually do impact soil forming process, but actually it is the association that impact the soil forming processes, the basic processes of elevation, leaching, capillary action, and humification or humus formation. So since climate controls, the parameters of climate control the very basic processes of soil formation, then it is one of the active soil forming factors. The other active soil forming factor is organisms. They also, like climate, control other soil forming factors and the profile characteristics or horizon characteristics. These may be categorized again into the phytosphere or the plant life. Plant influence the soil forming process in many ways. They release carbon dioxide and secrete acids which enhance chemical weathering. The root penetration increases physical weathering and impacts aeration and mixing of soil. The plant cover decreases wind action and reduces soil erosion or runoff. And on the other hand, dead parts of plants increase the organic content of soil also. The zoosphere or the animal life comprises of large animals which prevent formation of stable soil structure as there is more soil mixing. Small animals who, like burrowing animals who dwell in the soil, they increase aeration and percolation and fertility as they mix the topsoil and subsoil, so they are beneficial. But large animals do so much of mixing that soil structure entirely gets disturbed, and uh, there is a horizon differentiation is not remaining. The small worms uh, who have a detritus habit, they are very important because they increase humification by helping in decomposition of organic matter. But a more significant role in this term is played by the third category of organisms, the microorganisms. These microorganisms are very important for humification process because they accelerate the humification process. They also make available number of nutrients to the plants and enable the various biochemical or biogeochemical processes to operate, various nutrient cycles to operate. Nitrogen fixation is not possible without the presence of or microorganisms. And lastly, human beings positively impact the soil formation through plowing as they improve aeration in the topsoil, but they also through their various activities like deforestation, enhance soil erosion. They may also improve the soil quality through manure and irrigation. If irrigation is done in a very positive manner without being detrimental to the environment, or if excessive irrigation is not undertaken. But other activities of land use change destroy soil structure. So human beings have a dual role as a creator and a destructor or destroyer of soil structure. So if we so in summary, we see that in a wet climate, like we said, example is a laterite, hot, humid climate. There is no humus because microbial activity is high, and there is very high leaching because of the rainfall, and all the material is leached out. In a dry climate, there is capillary rise, and there is accumulation of salts depending on the degree of evaporation, and there may be incrustation on the surface if the aridity is very high. And examples are pedicels. Then there might be temperate, that is cool, humid climate, where the coniferous forests and coolness of the climate and ideal level or rate of microbial activity lead to formation of humus and accumulation of humus, while there is elevation and elevation but no leaching. So these are the various soil forming factors: temperature and organismic activity. Hope you've understood these. We'll follow up in the next with the passive soil. Thank you.